Have you noticed how apps like Instagram load your feed instantly, even with millions of users online? The secret lies in caching. And when it comes to real-time performance, Redis is the superhero behind the scenes. In this video, I'll break down the smartest caching strategies that you can use with Redis to make your APIs blazingly fast and insanely efficient. Hey everyone, this is Vivek Bharata. If you're building APIs and want to level up their performance, understanding caching is not optional, it's completely essential. And Redis, with its in-memory speed and rich data structures, gives you the perfect toolbox. We'll walk through the most powerful caching strategies, when to use them, pros and cons for each strategy, all with easy to understand diagrams. Let's get started. First up, we got cache aside strategy, also known as lazy loading. This is the most commonly used pattern. This is how it works. Once the read request comes to service, first service checks whether the data is stored in Redis. If data is stored in Redis, it's a cache hit. So basically it just simply returns the data all the way from Redis to the client. Simple, okay? If at all, if the data is not present in Redis, then first service will try to read the data from the database, okay? This is cache miss, right? So once the service receives the data from the database, it will update into the Redis as well as a cache write. So for the subsequent request for the same data, the service can retrieve the data from Redis directly instead of reading from the database. Simple. One simple example for this strategy cache aside is e-commerce product details. When a user views a product page on an online store, first API checks whether data is stored in Redis. If it's missing, it pulls data from the database and stores in Redis so that it will be helpful for future requests for the same product info. So why this example fits for cache aside strategy? Product data doesn't change often, right? And also not every product is visited so often. So cache is used only when needed. So in this whole cache aside strategy, the most frequently read data is always stored in Redis. Moving to advantages of this strategy, simple and widely used, only caches data that's actually requested. This is very important, which we will correlate with the other strategies later. Easy to implement and reason about. Fine-grained control over caching logic. And there are some disadvantages also with this strategy. Those are, first request is slow, cold start, because for the very first time, that specific product info won't be there in Redis, right? So the data will be pulled from database, then stored in Redis, so that it will be helpful for next requests. So always for the very first time, that specific request will be relatively slow because it actually reads from the database. So that is called cold start. Stale data risk if DB is updated and cache is not invalidated. Again, of course, we need to do explicit invalidations, but again, that's kind of an overhead. That comes to the third point as request manual cache invalidation logic. And now you can easily say that this specific strategy is not ideal for write heavy workloads. I hope this cache asset strategy is clear. This is the most frequently and widely used. You might have already noticed this or implemented in your projects. Moving on to the next strategy, that is write through cache. In this strategy, instead of reading first, it purely focuses on write operations first. So when you update or create your data, you write to Redis and database at the same time. So if you look at the diagram over here, so for all the write requests, this API backend service, let's say, will basically first write to database and also writes to Redis or vice versa. But overall, this can be treated as one unit of operation, one unit of work in simple terms, right? So for any write request, either it's a create or update, service will make sure that the data is written to both database and also to Redis. So that's how the representation over here. So in this service, both writing to database and also to the cache is treated as one unit of work or maybe as a series of requests. Simple. Okay. So with this strategy, it keeps your data always in sync between Redis and database. But as you can clearly see, this will definitely add a latency because we need to write to the Redis also as an extra operation. It's a good fit when read speed matters, but you still want consistency. Examples for this can be like user profile updates in social media apps, let's say. When the user updates their profile like name, bio, profile picture or any post, let's say, the service writes the data to both Redis and database at the same time. This way, the updated profile information is always fetched from Redis and it is always latest and consistent with database. So why this specific example fits this specific strategy right through cache. Profile reads, as you can see, those are more frequent operations and this needs strong consistency between DB and cache. Moving on to the advantages of write through cache strategy. As you can see, cache and database are always in sync. Read operations are always fast because it always will be a cache hit and the data will be sent directly from Redis. Now, of course, as we have these advantages, there are disadvantages as well. Slower writes, as we mentioned earlier, because we need to make sure that the data is written to database and also to Redis. So writing to Redis can be like an extra operation that we need to do as part of the actual write API request. So with this case, again, we can filter it out which type of data. So let's say for Instagram, we can't store all the millions of users information in Redis. It doesn't make sense. So we can use this strategy only for a very high popular social media profiles. For the rest of the stuff, it can be, we can do as a cache aside or something like that. So we can streamline this based on the business domain and all. So overall, there is a high chance that the data will be returned to Redis unnecessarily. But again, we can filter this out to some extent by selecting that, okay, we can store this for more high volume user profiles only, something like that. But still, this can be treated as a disadvantage because we will always store the data in Redis as well. And third point I can think of a disadvantage is increased write complexity and resource usage. That's pretty much for the write through cache. I hope you understood. Moving on to the next one, that is write behind cache. Now this write behind cache strategy is a bold one. Reason, you write to Redis and Redis takes care of updating that to database. I know it's scary to hear for the very first time, but this can also be used in one of the examples I'll just share in a moment. And this specific strategy actually is supported by Redis Enterprise Solutions, where there's a module called Redis Gears, where it will take care of writing the updates to the database. In this case, as you can see, for the write request from the client, the service will just write the data to Redis. Redis have this Redis Gears module where it will take care of writing the updates to the database. So it can be treated as an asynchronous database writes. It can be scheduled or a cron job, anything. But overall, as you can see, when compared to the other one, over here, it will write to both, right? Write through cache, it will write to both database and cache write. So with this case, the write operations will be way faster because we are just writing to Redis. And Redis will take care of later to write that to the database, and that all you can configure with the help of Redis Gears module. So overall, it's ultra fast for writes, but you have to be okay with some delays in persistence because it will take a while to update in the database as well. Also, if Redis crashes before flushing the data to the database, you could lose some information unless you enable end of file or RDB persistence in Redis. So one example I can think of for write behind cache strategy is analytics event tracking. Analytics service, example tracking page views or user clicks, writes events to Redis for fast ingestion, and Redis batches writes to the database in the background. So in this case, it's kind of synchronous write to the Redis, but asynchronous where Redis will take care of basically updating that into the database. So why this specific example fits in this write behind cache strategy? So if you see, this is like a very high volume write heavy use case because tracking pages and user clicks, like you'll get a huge amount of data. Because in this specific case, delayed persistence in database is acceptable and also great for reducing DB load because the amount of data which gets for this specific use case like tracking pages or user clicks, that will be like a very heavy volume of data, right? So instead of actually doing that all in a database directly, which doesn't make sense, right? So we can basically flush it to Redis and Redis will take care of it as a batch to update bulk updates into the database direct. So of course, this strategy also will have pros and cons. Starting with pros, extremely fast write performance. As you can see, there is no database here. We always write to Redis. So overall, comparatively writing to database, it will be like extremely fast. For heavy volume, of course. Reduces DB load by batching writes in a way that Redis will take care of writing the data in batches instead of each individual data point. This is ideal for high write throughput systems. Moving on to cons or disadvantages. Risk of data loss and Redis crash is high unless again Redis persistence is enabled. We need to do complex error handling and recovery logic. Next one is delayed consistency. DB lags behind Redis, but for this specific use case that should be okay. But I still want to highlight this as a con to some extent. And the last disadvantage could be we should make sure Redis is durable, like end of file setup, snapshots, replications, etc. Alright, I hope till this point it's clear. By the way, I have created Build Your Own Redis series. It's kind of an old, close to 1 year, but I would highly recommend to watch if you want to see how Redis internals works. Again, I have written that in JavaScript, but it will basically helps you to understand how an in-memory database can work. And I also covered some data structures as well. So it's a good watch. If you want to check out, please go through that playlist as well. Alright, moving on to the last strategy, that is read through cache. This one is similar to cache aside, but the magic happens purely behind the scenes. In the read through cache, the service never talks to the database directly. So what exactly the case? So when you get the read request, service will try to get the data from Redis. Internally, if Redis don't find the data, it will try to fetch the data from the database and return that as a cached response. Simple. And of course, you can clearly see there are pros and cons. I will cover in a moment. So in short, Redis handles cache misses internally and fetches from the data using a loader. It is more abstracted and great if you want to make a centralized cache logic. One example for this specific strategy I can think of is a CMS-like system uses read-through cache to serve article content. When a reader visits a new article, Redis automatically loads it from DB if it's not cached. Why this specific example fits? Because its seamless integration ensures that the reads always go through Redis and minimizing latency. Again, we still need to consider this read up from the database, but it's all part of the Redis. So relatively it will be better when compared to the cache side. So advantages of this strategy: transparent at the application layer, consistent cache loading mechanism, reduces duplicate logic across different services. Now on to the disadvantages: tightly coupled to the cache layer with DB access logic. And this strategy is definitely complex to implement. We need a cache provider or a library for this. Kind of less flexibility in cache invalidation scenarios. That's all on the 4 different Redis strategies that we can use. Now I just want to extend this to some more interesting topics like TTL, invalidation, and expiry. Keeping your cache always latest and clean should be the primary goal of cache system. Setting up a proper TTL or time to live is very crucial. Redis makes this very easy by built-in expiry mechanisms. For example, you might cache real-time metrics for 10 seconds only, but product details for an hour or so. So with this TTL, we'll ensure that we don't serve outdated data based on the different business entities. As an example, a live sports API or stock trading app caches scores or prices with a TTL of 10 seconds, ensuring users always get the up-to-date data without hammering the database. As this data changes rapidly, so we can use TTL with less time, and the stale data must expire quickly. So by having this TTL invalidation or expiry logics, so we can prevent stale or outdated data automatically. And it's very easy to implement with Redis inbuilt expiry and also controls memory usage efficiently. And there are some slight disadvantages. Again, this varies based on the business case. Risk of cache misses will be high if TTL is short. And second point is kind of a difficult to choose the right TTL value for the dynamic data. It keeps varying. And there is one prominent issue that we can see more often, that is sudden expiry of many keys in Redis, which will directly impact database for high read throughput at a time, which can cause a spike in DB load, which also termed as cache stampede. All of these strategies shine in real-time APIs. Think leaderboards, product search, session management, rate limiting, and even live trading dashboards. And as an end note, some best practices: always set TTLs irrespective of all the cache strategies. Yes, there are some challenges, but you can still make sure that TTLs are set in place based on the different domain entities with different TTL values. Use Redis hashes to group related data so it's easy to operate. And always thumb rule: monitor your cache hit ratios. That is very important. Otherwise you just implement and you don't know how much that is actually affecting in a good note or in a bad note. And last one, don't forget to benchmark these strategies after you implement. Caching is not just about speed, it's about how you craft it. Redis gives you the tools and now you know the strategies. If you learned something new, hit that like button and subscribe for more interesting videos. And drop a comment if you want me to do a demo on one of these strategies. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.